Okay, welcome to the fourth module of the Job Search Essentials for Papua New Guineans online course. We'll be talking on this module about job interview principles recommended by the PNG recruiter. Okay, this is very important. If you know some of the principles, they should help you get through any job interview that you come across in your career and your lifetime. Okay, so we'll start off with the first one we've marked, which is research the company. Okay, so if you get a call from any recruiter or HR department or any organization for an interview, from the time you get the call to the interview time and date, before you attend the interview, sorry, um, make sure that you research the company. Okay, so basically researching the company would involve understanding the company's mission, values, products, what they offer to customers, or what they sell, or what they make, and their company culture. What would they define the company culture as? And yeah, if you are reading the newspapers or follow them on social media, or watch the news or anything like that, you should try to update yourself on any recent news or achievements related to the company or organization you'll be attending the interview for. Okay, so this will come in handy when you go into the interview. You'll know uh, a lot about the company's mission, values, products, culture, and also what they've achieved so far as a company. And the news might report about it on the radio, on TV, on social media. You might have seen it, so it's good to keep yourself updated about happenings related to the company you'll be attending the interview for. Okay. Yes. So back to where it says understanding the company's mission, values, products, and culture. You would have had a look at this company's website. If you go there to, if this organization you're applying for has a website, that would be a good place to go and see what the company's mission, values, their products, and culture is like. Well, let's do an example. Huh? So let's go to Newmont. Newmont, and yeah, let's have a look. So if you just go to the organization's website, for example, let's use Newmont, New Monthly here. So here we are on their website. So you can just try and locate where the vision and mission and goals are usually located. So you can probably check places like About Us. Huh? If you happen to see any other places where it would be suitable, well, go ahead. But there you go. We just clicked on. Oh, it should have come up here in the first place. It was already here. But anyway, all good. Purpose, values, and strategy. Okay. So there you go. Click on that, and here we are. So these sort of places are good spots to go and see what the company is all about in terms of their mission, vision, values, their purpose, their goals, what they're all about, and have a feel or an understanding, a basic understanding of what the company culture is like. So if you go into an interview and one of the questions they'd ask you is, or you know, what do you know about our organization? And there you go. You already know what to say, because you've already read about the stuff on the website. Or sometimes if you go to the job vacancies, you will see at the top there, they'll give a basic run through of what the organization is all about. That's a good spot to source this sort of information, like values, mission, their goals, their objectives, yeah, stuff like that. So for another example is to see this where the job advert is. Let's just have a look at a basic example here from one of these um, adverts here on pngjobseek.com. Let's try this one. New Britain palm oil. So there you can see something here about what the organization is all about currently. So for this position here, superintendent safety at the one of the sites at Alotau, Milne Bay Province, the Kula Palm Oil Limited. So here we go. We've just opened up a new tab of this vacancy for superintendent safety vacancy at New Britain Palm Oil at the location at Alotau, Milne Bay Province. So there you go. So you can see this is a basic summary of what the company is all about. So it reads MBPOL is the largest private sector employer in Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands. So, you know, you can go in and talk about that if you ask a question about what do you know about our company. So you can tell them, uh, well, I read that MBPOL is the largest private sector employer in Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands. There you go. I did not know that they were operating in Solomon Islands until now. So there you go. That's how you educate yourself. You go to where you can source this sort of information, and um, this will help you prepare for the interview, whatever questions they throw at you, and you can also use that information to align your qualifications and your personal goals and aspirations. You can align it with um, the company, what they're trying to achieve uh, over at the end, and it will help you with your interview performance. So those are some places where you can source this information, and it's a good example. These are good examples, I guess, of researching the company before going in for an interview. Okay, and we'll move on now to the second point of this module, which is understand the job description. Okay, very important. Um, I mean, you look at the job vacancy and you're interested in applying, you would be reading over and over again the requirements, the qualifications required for the job, and a basic overview of the vacancy. That's one way you go about in understanding the job description, because you have to go in there and show them why you're a best fit for this vacancy you are being interviewed for. Okay, so basically you should be familiarizing yourself with the job requirements and responsibilities. That's how you should go about in doing that. Okay, so like I think we'll go back to this example here on pngjobseek.com. So key accountabilities, yeah, that's fine. Every job is unique, so Well, if you're in a field, you probably come across a job that's suited to your field of expertise over and over again. So, but different organizations have different responsibilities, and it molds into the organization culture and all that. So we can skip that bit. The part where that's really key, I believe in. We believe in interviews is job requirements. Okay, so you gotta look at this and see if your personal experiences, your work professional experiences and qualifications suit the job requirements, the vacancies requirements. Okay, so the best thing to do is to just try to match your job requirements. I mean, the job requirements with your professional skill set, abilities, expertise, work experiences, and qualifications. So let's see for this example here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. This vacancy here consists of seven job requirements. So um, try to think of if your personal or professional uh, work experience and qualifications match these seven. If they match these seven, you've got a really good chance of holding this interview in a strong point. Okay, you can go in there and really have a great conversation in there with the interviewer about matching your qualifications and experiences with this job. So if you got this, you can talk all day about your degree in environment science or your occupational health and safety background, and then you can tell them, you got 5 years or more experience in the field in this area, and talk about your safety uh, levels one, two, three, and four qualifications and PowerPoint skills. Talk to them about a time when you gave a PowerPoint presentation and how you were required to do a report within a day using MS Office. Show your computer literacy skills. You know, if you happen to match your professional work experiences and qualifications with the majority of the job requirements there, then you have a real good chance of performing well in the job interview. So make sure you try to do this. Read the job description and the job requirements over and over again and see if you are able to uh, match your professional qualifications and work experience with the majority of the jobs or the vacancies requirements, then you will be in a good position to perform well in the interview, the job interview. And performing in the job interview well is basically, matching all your work experiences when asked with the questions. Because a tip here is most of the interviewers' questions aimed at you or asked to you in the interview will be from here, from the job requirements, to test if you have them, and you'll have to tell them. If you don't have it, that's fine, but try as much as possible to match the majority of your work experiences with the majority of the job requirements stated in the job advert. Okay? Yeah, so let's just come back to the second point again about understanding the job description. So we've already touched on familiarize yourself with the job requirements and responsibilities, and we've also touched on a little bit about being prepared to discuss how your skills and experiences align with the position. So, like we mentioned earlier, you just Whatever it is that's stated in the job requirements of the advert, yeah, just try to prepare yourself on how you are going to match your uh, professional skills and qualifications and work experiences with the requirements of the role. In doing so, you are well prepared to go into the interview and talk about these things when you are asked about how your skills and experience align with the vacancy that you are being interviewed for and have applied for. Simple as that. Okay, we move on to the next point of this module, which is number three, practice common interview questions. So you can just go online anytime, and then uh, there's so much information on the internet regarding common interview questions, and you can find them on YouTube. YouTube is a great place. Go on YouTube, just type in common interview questions. What interview questions can you expect in an interview? Just go Google it. You can go on Chat GPT to generate it, and or go to YouTube and watch videos of common interview questions to prepare yourself. If you want to go more specific, like what sort of questions will they ask in an interview in your specific field, like you probably are in sales or you're in engineering or you're a carpenter or anything like that, just go on those sort of platforms and type in the what you want to find in terms of what we're discussing here, and then you should find it. So try to be resourceful, or you can ask anyone who's in the same field as you are or the role that you are going to be interviewed for, and ask them what sort of questions were they gonna ask you in your first did they ask you in your interview with this organization, or I'm going for this interview with this organization here. You work in a similar field. What sort of interview questions did they ask you um, when you set for your interview? So, just try to find ways of anticipating and practice responses to common interview questions. Just have an understanding, a fair understanding, not a thorough understanding. Just inform yourself about what sort of questions you should be expecting, and yeah, try to find out what sort of answers that you can give in those sort of situations when you're asked those questions. Okay, anticipate and practice responses and your answers to common interview questions. Okay. A handy tip that I found on the internet while designing and developing this course here is I found out about the STAR method. So I feel that this method is a really good one because to be honest, I've been practicing this when I'm going for interviews, and that's the expectation also for recruiters too. Myself, I didn't know I was practicing it when I was interviewing candidates for jobs and for clients until I came across this during my research in designing this course for you. So it's called the STAR method, which just STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. This is the best structure to use when you are answering questions. So there'll be a lot of times or commonly in interviews, they'll be asking the usual questions like, I think I just typed out a few here if you can excuse me. Some common questions you'd find in interviews or asked in interviews would be like, tell me about the time you saw something that you thought was unsafe. what did you do about it and what was the result? Or tell me about a time you were equipped to or required, sorry, to work in a team. How did you go in the team environment and what was the task at hand and what was the result? You know, this other examples here. You can just pause this video now and have a look at them. But yeah, these are some of the common questions that interviewers would ask. Basically, they want to try and gauge your, you know, practical experience in such situations in the workplace environment. Ole lukimos you been stuck lo kind situation or kind before or no god. So that's why they wanna gauge your experience through your answers. So if you want to answer these sort of questions, best way lo walk him and lo put him lo is la star method, which is as for situation, you talk about the situation. Oh yeah, there was a time when I was working with this organization, as you can see on my CV there. I worked with so and so, and we were asked. Now you're talking about the task, T for task. We were asked to do this and that, handle this project, or fix this machine, or build this um, home, or whatever the task was. That's the task. Now you go into detail. What was the task involving and all that, and then what actions did you take? So A for action. So it might have been working in a team. So you okay wanted something inside of this team, yeah, or achieving R, which is result. So situation, task, action, result. So the best way to answer a question is to use the STAR method. I didn't know I was expecting that from candidates, and I didn't know how I was uh, designing the questionnaires, interview questionnaire, and all that. I didn't know I was expecting this until I went and did my own research online through YouTube and um, ChatGPT and just general Googling and here and there, and I found out that this kept popping up. So, and that's the general expectation across the board in Papua New Guinea. When you go and sit in the interview, interviewers will be wanting you to um, set your answer in this format. So if you're able to do this confidently without any mistake, you're just speaking from your own experience, you are in a good position to ace that interview. Okay, so try as much as possible when you're practicing common interview questions. Practice or try to understand or inform yourself about the common questions in your field of expertise, work, or the field you're trying to get into. And when you're answering your interview questions, use the STAR method. Okay. You want more information? Just message me or anything like that, or you can just go to YouTube. There's tons of information there. Google it. What's the STAR method all about? And or just chat GPT. We have artificial intelligence now. There's no excuse. Information is abundant there. And depend on you yet. Okay? So we move on to point 4 of this module, which is know your CV. Okay, so be ready to discuss your work experience, skills, and accomplishments that are stated in your CV. You at your work CV, so you must ready lo talk na story inside lo interview blow you about all your work experience, skills, and accomplishments that you stated inside your CV. So that's why earlier in the module or in this course we discussed about how to put your CV. Yeah, you must put down everything there is that you accomplished or attained or experienced in your work, in your professional career on your CV. Put it down, and don't just put it down and then go into the interview and then, you forgot about this time that you did this and that. Because it's in your CV, you have to be, um, you know, you have to be ready to answer that question because they are only, they've seen your CV. That's the whole point of you applying for the job. So now you must back it up when you're inside the interview room. You must talk now. Story your work experience, play your skills, play your accomplishments, play you. You've been typing inside of this CV, okay? So it's very important, linking it with the earlier module about CV, the CVs that recruiters like must follow that. So, and also, have a go look at your CV again and remind yourself about what you did in this and that work experience that you've stated in your CV. So when you go in, you can, just answer the question right away if they look at your CV and ask something about it. And yeah, highlight specific achievements and how they relate to the job. So, sometimes they'll ask like questions that are unplanned, um, I can't think of one right now, but you'll be asked something, maybe one of the behavioral questions that we put up earlier. Yeah. Or like, for example, describe a situation where you had to adapt to a change in the workplace. How did you manage that? So, so it might be. So to answer this, it might be in relation to a certificate that you got. Um, you might have seen an unsafe activity, or someone was doing something wrong and you intervened and all that, and you got an award for that, or a certificate, or you attended a training because um, in your field you need to get into there, and then the interviewer sees your CV and sees that you got this accomplishment here. Talk about it a bit more. So that's your chance to highlight these specific achievements and how they relate to the job. So when given that position, you must try to connect that achievement with the job. You know, It's- like you see, I by pointing out this unsafe activity, I it shows the level of safety consciousness that I have in a real work environment, and that will help you know, me with achieving the safety goals that are related to this position. You too, you must try and connecting back, come back, low. This job requirement or that question that they're trying to ask you. They are asking you. So if you are able to, connect your achievements, your experiences with what's required in the job, and yet you finish your sentences up, and that's how I have the experience and I'm able to offset this, or I attended this course and I'm fully aware of what's required to offset this task. So I feel, again, I'm the best fit for this position. You have to play you know your cards right. Do your own job at trying to attain, or display your connection to the job, and that you're the best fit for the job. So stuff like that, using your own initiative during a pressure situation like a job interview, it goes a long way, and it will add value to your answers. And the best, a little tip here, the best interviews are when, or the best answers in any job interview is when the interviewer continues to write the answers down, and there's a pause or a silence that name walk right yet, right yet. writing the answers down. So those are good answers if you give them. And if you see that in the interview, then you've given a great answer and you've made an impression on the interviewer or the interview panel. All right. So yeah, that's three. Um, Three is practice common interview questions. Use the STAR method. Anticipate and practice responses to common interview questions before going in for the interview. Or if you're not even going for an interview, just practice. Just practice. Get ready. It's best to be ready before anything. Okay, when you're ready and you go in, you just ace it. You kill it in the interview. And number four, know your CV. So inform yourself about the CV that you've issued to them initially to the interviewer, and that's the reason why you are sitting in the interview. And also, be aware of your achievements on the job and during your career or in school, and try to highlight that and connect it or relate it to the job that you're being interviewed for. So inform yourself about these things: interview questions, job descriptions, job requirements, and how to connect answers together, best structure and all that. And yeah, you'll be in a really really good position to ace your interviews and get that dream job that you always dream about. Welcome to the next slide on job interview principles. We move on to 5 and 6 of this module, which is number 5, dress appropriately, and number 6, arrive early. Okay, so dress appropriately as part of job interview principles recommended by the PNG recruiter. Whatever job interview that you are heading for, please choose professional attire that is suitable for the company culture and pay attention to personal grooming and hygiene. These are some of the points here, but to stress further on this, on point 5, please, whatever interview that you are going for, make an attempt to look professional, okay? Wear a pair of boots or shoes, wear clean clothes, or if you're female, you know, wear flats, wear a nice dress, um, look the part, look like you want to get a job, look that you can get this job that you are going for an interview for. It's not just about sitting in there and answering the questions the right way. Your appearance shows the recruiters that you are serious about getting this job. That's also part of the interview process. How you look, whether you are keeping your hair neat and tidy, and most importantly, don't smell like boy or beetle nut, have boy stained teeth, and go in smelling like cigarettes, and like you've forgotten to put on a spray or something. Please make an attempt to look clean, professional, and look like someone who cares about their hygiene, okay? Make an attempt to look good and go for your interview because it's an important part of the interview process. You dressing up neatly and taking care of your hygiene leading towards your interview means that you are serious about taking this job that you are being interviewed for, and you can be a good potential applicant for this job, okay? So that's one important part that a lot of job seekers these days they don't take seriously. It doesn't matter if you are in a trades oriented occupation or field, or whatever field you're in. Take some pride in how you look, how your hygiene is. Go in there, and this will quicken your chances of getting a job. Simple as that. Just by you dressing up, you don't have to show some the interviewer or the recruiter that from this and that, and I don't have money to take care of myself. It doesn't matter. The best interviews also are those that when you go in there, you give the impression that you got years and years of experience, but when the recruiter looks at your CV, it's like, my goodness, this guy came out from this school, or he's fresh out from this institution. Well done, you made an impression. It's like, okay, that's great, looks good for this interview. And then you back it up with your answers to the questions as we previously discussed in the interview. You are leaving no chance for these recruiters and HR personnel to ignore you. You're making a great impression, and you're stating that you are the man and the woman for this job, okay? So dress appropriately, choose good work attire, look decent, comb your hair, and take care of your hygiene before going in. Don't I recommend that you do not smoke or chew while heading into an interview, okay? After, okay, there will be plenty of times to do that, but just cut that out, look smart and neat, and head into your interview. Okay, so that's for dressing appropriately. Okay, we go to the sixth point for job interview principles, and that is arrive early. Just arrive early. So aim to arrive 30 to 45 minutes early to demonstrate to the recruiter your punctuality and to avoid potential delays. Okay, you know, it never hurts to be early for an interview. When I go in for interviews, I don't care if I go an hour early or 30 minutes early. you know when you go early, you also show the interviewer that you are serious about getting this job, and already showing them that if you were to get that job, you're gonna be like that. You're gonna be early all the time. All right. So you're also making an impression. It always is good to get a call from the reception as a recruiter and find out that, um, this person who's been scheduled for this interview is here 30 to 45 minutes early. And it's like, okay, that's good. This person really cares about this job and is here already. That's the sort of impression that I get when people whom I schedule for interviews, when they come early. That's the impression that I get, usually get. It's a good impression, and I beg of you, whoever you are, to whatever interview you're going to, make sure that you go early. All right. It never hurts to be early for an interview. It doesn't matter if you're gonna sit there for a long time. It gives you time to get your mind, psychologically ready to go in for the interview, and you go over your notes, the vision, mission of the company. It gives you the time to psychologically prepare yourself to go in. You're sitting in the reception, start going over some notes, or in your mind you go over what you're going to say in the interview. Get your breathing control right, so you keep your heart rate down, so you don't go in and fumble and mumble all over the place in the interview. You know what you want, and you got the 30 to 45 minutes to just think things out and prepare yourself to go in. Okay. Also, when you make uh, when you go for or make sure that you go for an interview early, it also allows you to cater for any unplanned stuff that happens from the time you leave home to getting into the interview room. So, like, there could be stuff like the bus is running late to for you to get to the interview. There's an accident, or whatever happens that could potentially delay you, you're able to cut that out. You can be on time and all that, but then something might happen in between that could cause you to be late for the interview, and it's not good to be late for an interview. All right, it's definitely not good to be late for an interview. So if anything happens and you've made it your business to leave the house early, prepare yourself early, dress up early, and keep yourself neat and tidy, brush your teeth and comb your hair, and get ready for the interview way earlier than expected, which allows you to cater for any surprise things that happen along the way before you get into the interview room. Then that's good. So that extra time in between before your interview time and you getting there, if there's anything that happens, you have enough time to deal with that, put that aside, and still make it in for the interview on time without being late. So I guess an example would be, for myself, I got on the bus. I had an interview on that day, and I just made it my business to get there before 1 o'clock. I left the house at like around 10:30 or something because I was desperate for a job, and then I was going for an interview in town. I was traveling from Guerrero. So while I was on the bus, I don't know who this person was or what, but when we left Guerrero on the bus line, somebody spat boy from the front seat, or I don't know, from the side of the bus, and totally destroyed my shirt that I was wearing for the interview. Honest, my whole shirt was filled with boy spit. And at the time, my mother was still working at Brian Bell, so and I had to find a water source or something, or a cloth or something to just get all this boy spittle off me. So during the time, I was so lucky to leave the house early. I don't know. I just wanted to be early. This was an opportunity to get a job, and so I just left early. And then this thing happens. I had enough time to go and see my mom. She helped me with getting some cloth from the women's toilet, and putting some water on it and wiping this beaten out spit off my interview shirt, the shirt I was wearing for the interview. And I had some time. I think I had like 45 minutes left to get to town. So I managed to. I don't know how I did it, but I managed to get all the boy spit off my shirt, and it was white. And I made it in time for the interview. Like I was probably 15 minutes early before the interview. I still made it, and I aced that interview. I had enough time to get my head around what just happened, focus on the interview, what I needed to say, what I was gonna say, the job description, everything. I just went in, aced it, and I got a job with Air Swift. Yeah, so yeah, so that's my personal experience, and just shows that to avoid such situations, it's always good to be early. And yeah, just be mindful of your presentation, how you dress, and what your hygiene is like. When you take into account those things, you feel comfortable, you go in for the interview, and you're able to perform well. And then it closes down on the chances of you getting this job, whatever job you're being interviewed for. All right. So take into account these principles that us at the PNG Recruiter always have in mind when we're going for job interviews. It will help you in the long run. Okay, the next part of this module will be talking about bring necessary documents and demonstrate good body language. All right. So firstly, we'll go to point 7. Bring necessary documents. So just to be on the safe side, carry a couple of copies of your CV. Okay. Um, you never know. There might be some extra people um, who come and attend the interview on the interview panel, not from your end, but from the interviewer's end. Um, Sometimes the recruiter will say, set up the interview, and then when you come in, there might be the manager of this position, or their supervisor is seated in the interview room as well. You never know. who's gonna be in there. So just to show that you are well prepared, and it also counts for your interview performance too. If you're able to get a printed out copy of your CV too, maybe two or three, and staple it and put it in your pillow or bag and bring it for the interview, then that will be very nice. Imagine if um, one of the interviewers didn't have the CV on hand, and you were able to just, it's okay, no worries, I got some copies here. Man, you will make a huge impression inside the interview room. So if you are able to afford extra copies of your CV, go ahead. It makes a big impression if required. If not, then that's fine, all good. Um, Definitely, the interviewers will have a copy of your CV on hand to refer to when having the interview with you. It's their job too. But just to be on the safe side, um, you know, uh, you can always print out some copies and keep in your bag, just in case. All right. And carry all relevant original certificates, references, if applicable. So yeah, if you're told to bring your copies of your references and certificates, please do so. If not, asked by the interviewer when they are trying to set up schedule your interview date, then you can just take it along as well. It also shows that you are prepared and willing to come for the interview and have a chance at getting this job that you're being interviewed for. All right. So it doesn't hurt at all to bring any relevant certificates and references along. If you must, you can bring your originals or like printed scanned copies. Just bring him Jolna. If they ask for it, then you can show it to them and say, "Oh, I have my original certificates here, or copies of it. You can have a look at them." Yeah, and if you're not asked to bring it, just bring it. Just bring them along. You never know when you're gonna be asked or not for these documents, right? And if they don't ask for it in the interview, then that's fine too. You're just backing yourself up in case they ask for it. It's always good to be prepared. If they ask in the interview and they didn't ask initially before setting up the interview date, there, and you get up and say, sorry, I didn't bring my certificates and references." And then it's like showing them, the recruiter will be thinking, "You're coming for an interview and you're not bringing any documents. What are you coming for?" So, just to avoid such situations, it's always good to prepare and bring your copies of your CV or copies of your certificates and references or the originals. It's always good to bring the originals. And it's also like, if you bring the original certificates and references, you know it shows that it's also a authenticating side, whether your documentations are like originals, or as they say, you are in your CV. So these days there's a lot of people uh, doing fake copies of their CVs and certificates and references and editing it, editing other people's certificates and references and making it look like this when they're not really qualified. So to authenticate yourself and your qualifications that you put in your CV and all as part of your support documents, it will be very, very helpful to the recruiters and interviewers for you to produce original copies of your certificates and references, so they can see it's in color and it's actually signed and it's the real deal. So you want to go one step ahead in showing that you really want this job. These are some of the ways or some of the principles that you should take into account when going in for a job interview, as recommended by the PNG recruiter, because We are recruiters ourselves, and we know what it takes for applicants to go that extra step towards nailing their job interview. Okay, so we move on to point 8. Demonstrate good body language. All right. So when you're in the interview, you should try to maintain eye contact. If you're going to make a shake hand, or make it a firm handshake, to show that your body language is affirmative, you're serious, you want to be here, you're ready to go, you're prepared, and you're confident. Okay, and show a smile. You most definitely are going into the interview, with brushed teeth, and you want to show that you're happy to be here in this interview, and you wanna you're ready and prepared to take whatever challenges that the interviewers, or whatever questions they throw at you or ask you. So these sort of little things, like maintaining eye contact when giving your interview answers, or making a handshake that's firm, and smiling, cracking a joke, being relaxed, and not tensed in the interview. It shows that your body language is a good body language, and you're confident, and you're relaxed, and you know it it's already adding to all the good stuff that your interview um is going on about. All right, so try to do that. Yeah, and another thing to stress on the eighth point of this slide, which is demonstrate good body language. You should try to sit up straight and engage with the interviewer through positive gestures. Huh? So sit up straight, show the interviewer and or the recruiter that you are interested and you know willing to be there in the interview room. And if you must, use hand gestures to get your point across when you're asked a question and you're trying to explain your answer. Use hand gestures in there. It adds on to engaging with the interviewer. You're showing that you are explaining your answer, and you're really pulling from your personal experience and your thinking, using your thought process. And sometimes when you get carried away with answering the question, you start using your hand gestures, which is very positive. It shows that, like I explained earlier, that you're willing to go the distance in explaining your answer, and really um, showing that you are positive in there with your hand gestures. Okay, and yeah, while doing that, try to sit up straight in the interview. Show that you want to be there, and you are interested in getting this job that you're being interviewed for. So all these things combined with maintaining eye contact, offering a firm handshake, and a smile, and sitting up straight, and using hand gestures to show your positivity and willingness in the interview goes a long way. So demonstrating good body language in an interview, it just closes the gap between you getting the job and you actually getting the job. So try to do that, and I'm sure that you should be on your way towards attaining the job that you are being interviewed for. So we move on to our next points. We'll start off with point 9. Ask thoughtful questions. So in the interview, just prepare questions about the company, team, and the role that you are being interviewed for. So you see the role and you're already interested in it. So you yourself will know what sort of questions you want to ask in the interview when given the opportunity. So these opportunities would most likely come at the end of the interview. Coming towards the end, the interviewer will ask you, would you have any questions you'd like to ask us? and that will be the time for you to ask these thoughtful questions. So do your research like we discussed earlier, like when you go to the website, or you see the job description and you read about the role and the company, its mission, vision, goals, objectives, and any news that you've read in the newspapers or in the news, on TV, on social media. These are good times to ask those thoughtful questions, all right? Try ask, how your team is going to take part in such new activities happening on site or in this new project, how they'll be affected. Um, is your job uh, gonna work with this department, or what department will you work with? Or, ask thoughtful questions that are associated with the vacancy that you are being interviewed for. I can't go too deep on that, but you yourself, when you're called in for an interview, it's your job to prepare questions about the company, team, and the role that you're being interviewed for. So try your best to come up with questions that are associated to those three things there. And yeah, when you ask questions in an interview, like thoughtful questions, it shows that you're very thoughtful. Um, you're already picturing yourself with the organization. If you happen to ask a very interesting question or thoughtful question, sometimes you catch the attention of the interviewer, and yeah, they'll record that down and they'll make sure that they make mention of it to the hiring manager or their bosses and say, hey, this person asked a very interesting question. I thought that was very smart of them. So, you gotta make an impression by asking some questions. But, sometimes you already answered all the questions in the interview. You might not want to ask any questions to the interviewers. So that's totally up to you. But if you want to make a lasting impression and add more value to your interview performance, you can try and ask a thoughtful question or two when given the opportunity. All right. Yes. So some questions you should avoid asking are those ones that you can easily answer through basic research. Like, for instance, don't ask questions like, "What's the vision of the company?" or "What are the goals, mission of the company?" Please don't ask that because it's already on full display on their website, on the job description itself. And if you were really interested in taking that job with their organization, these are stuff that are already out there and you would have researched about it already. So there's really no need to ask these questions inside the interview. You're simply just showing that you didn't do enough research before coming into the interview, and that's the worst thing that can happen. So try not to do that. You have to ask questions that are like I said earlier, thoughtful questions, stuff that they themselves would never, the interviewer would never have thought of being asked in the first place. It's your opportunity to turn the tables on the interviewer and ask them something that will catch them off guard, throw them off their feet. Ask something that will really make them think to um, impress you as well. Okay, return the favor. In doing that, you are gaining respect from them again in the interview. Okay, and showing that oh, this person is like I said, a thoughtful person, and they've done their research and they really want to know, um, other than what's been already stated on or made public on their website, on in media and all that about their organization. You want to know what, you know, some details that are not known to everybody, but this is your chance to ask those sort of questions. Where will the team be located? How far will they be from, this the main site, or where's the head office? Stuff like that. Yeah, just think of something. I'm sure you will. Like I said, I can't really pinpoint exactly what sort of questions you should ask, because everybody, tuning into this video here in this module, they have different fields of work. So you yourself, you would know exactly what sort of questions you want to ask. So don't be afraid to ask it. If you're given the opportunity to answer or ask a question to the panel, the interviewer, go ahead and ask it. Show them what you got, okay? Okay, por it. Alright? You got this. Be confident and speak your heart, speak your mind, and ask questions that you feel are important to know if you're gonna take this job, alright? So avoid asking questions that can be easily answered through basic research. Do your research properly, prepare, and know about the company, the team, and the role that you are applying for and being interviewed for, alright? So do that. Okay, so we move on to point 10, which is show enthusiasm. So it's very important to show enthusiasm in an interview. Well, how bad do you want this job? You simply show it through enthusiasm. So express genuine interest in the position and the company when you're in the interview, and be positive and demonstrate a willingness to learn, right? So if they tell you, ask you anything, you know, be an open book, be honest, be happy. The best interviews are those ones where you are relaxed and you are very interested in being there. You want to be in that position of pressure, of being in a panel of an interview, in being asked complex questions which you know in your heart that you can handle, and you're showing it through your body language, like we discussed earlier. Being happy, sitting upright, those are ways of showing your enthusiasm in the interview. So, like this point state here, just, I'm happy to be here, it's an honor to be here. I just can't, I've always wanted to be interviewed in this organization, and yeah, I'm just happy for the opportunity. Whatever happens, regardless, you know, it's a huge achievement. It's a huge achievement for me for making it this far, and yeah, regardless, I'm going to be very happy and take this opportunity with me, and always remember that I was interviewed with this organization. And those are some positive comments you can make, and that demonstrates your willingness to learn. you know so you know that you don't know much, you're not with the organization, but when you're stating those sort of things, you are stating that you want to learn more about the organization by being part of it. So your enthusiasm will unlock um, that trait of yours. All right. So you want to display that. So always be positive, be enthusiastic in the interview. And if you do a mistake, just apologize and say, "Oh, sorry, my bad." And then find yourself again, find your feet, and then go back to what you know best. All right. Keep on answering those questions properly. You know, revert to what you studied about the company, the role, and the team. And yeah, just stick to the plan, and just connect everything together with being enthusiastic. Show your enthusiasm. All right. Be happy and go into the interview and show that you wanna be there. You're motivated to be there. And regardless of whether they pick you or not, you know, you're still gonna be an enthusiastic person. Alright? And so we now move on to the next slide of this module, which is now point 11. Be ready for behavioral questions. So in any interview, there will be behavioral questions asked. So basically, behavioral questions are questions asked by the recruiter or interviewer to see how you would react from your own words to certain situations uh, that would measure, or show your behavior as per your own answer. So expect questions that assess how you handle situations in the past. In the past will be any of your past work experiences. Okay. So use specific examples to illustrate your skills and problem solving abilities. So these specific examples you just have to pull from your own work experience. Okay. You think of a time when you did that uh, certain activity or problem solving activity. And the best technique to do is like how we discussed earlier in this module, which is using the STAR technique, which is S for situation. You give a situation from a time work experience from your previous employer or your current employer. Okay, then you give the task. What was the task involving? All right, and you state the action. What was the action that you took to address this task in that certain situation? And then you advise of the result, which is R. Okay, you took the action, the task was given, what was the situation that required the task? So I'm going backwards, but basically, such situations where you are asked behavioral questions in an interview, the best thing to do is use the STAR technique, which is situation, task, action, result. Alright? So that's all you need to do. You can use that technique every time you're being asked a behavioral question. So some of the basic behavioral questions I've just typed here. So there are four here. So they're just a basic one to give you a fair idea of what sort of behavioral questions you should expect. And when you hear these sort of behavioral questions, that's the time to apply the STAR technique. So that's basically S is for situation. You state the situation, then you state the task, state the action that you took, and state the result. STAR. What was the result? Was it a positive result, a good result, a bad result? Just be honest. No worries if it was a bad result. It shows that you failed, but you were able to state all the steps in an orderly fashion, and you will show the interviewer or the recruiter that you have experience with doing such a technique, and you are aware that you made the mistake, but you know you know what to do now if given a second chance. All right. So some of the basic questions to expect in terms of basic behavioral questions are: tell me about the time you had a disagreement with a team member. How did you handle the situation? So if you were to use the STAR technique, you would say, "Oh, we were given this task to do. Um, it was on a night shift, and we were asked to um, create the planning and scheduling for the next team to come. But then there was a situation or task where uh, you know another team required me to go and assist with something that I used to do before, but they didn't have anybody on their team currently to attend to it, so I assisted. And then when I got back, I was a bit delayed with creating the schedule or plan for the next team. So what was the action you took? You stayed on beyond your allocated or scheduled time for your work, and you told your boss that I'm gonna stay back and I'm gonna complete this because these guys took me away from this task and I had to assist them with resolving it, and now I'm back. So I'm gonna stay a bit longer to complete this task. So that's your action. And what was the result? You managed to get the scheduling and planning done on time, and the next team, when they came, they were able to carry on with outstanding work, something like that. So that's a good example of how you use the STAR technique. And then there's other basic behavioral questions here. I'll remind you to pause in this video and just take note of them. Like number two, give an example of when you went outside of your job responsibilities, and state the result. Huh? I think I should type that there. Excuse me, state the actions you took and what were the results. There you go. And the third one, give an example of a time you had multiple deadlines to meet. How did you prioritize and manage your time? So, and then another one, tell me about the time you saw an unsafe activity in the workplace. What did you do about it when you saw it? So, the first one you can already tell it's how it's asking. The question is asking the person how you would go about in handling conflict in a team. Uh, Second one here would be give an example. Um, give an example of when you went outside of your job responsibilities. Is to see if you are able to go outside of your work responsibilities, even though it's not part of your job description, and what was the result, right? And third one would be give an example of a time you had multiple deadlines to meet. So it's trying to see. This question is trying to see if you have experience with prioritizing the multiple deadlines, and what was the technique you took to determine which task needed to be done first and which were deemed, not important at the time, so you put them off to a later date. What's your thinking process in such situations where you need to prioritize multiple deadlines? And the fourth one would be, you know, trying to see how would you react to a unsafe activity in the workplace? What are the steps you took? So there you go. These are some basic behavioral questions to anticipate in any interview. They're just trying to test how have you behaved in such situations in your work experience. So you basically pull from your work experience, and whatever situation from your work experience that may be suitable to this question, and then you tell your story to them about a time where you experienced this, and structure your answer in the STAR method or technique. All right. In that way, it's more organized. The answer is more organized. It's more streamlined, and the recruiter is able to see, you know, you break down your the whole process from the situation, the task, the action, the result, and show them how you are able to, behave in such situations. And by you telling it in the STAR method, it shows that you are willing to put it in a sensible manner for them to pick up and understand. Okay, so now we come to the 12th point of this module on job interview principles recommended by the PNG recruiter. So, 12th point is handle salary and benefits discussions professionally. Alright, so this is a very sensitive topic here because sometimes it makes interviewees nervous. They don't want to touch this topic because they might make the interviewer or the recruiter not want to take them on board because their salary expectations might be too high, or these are some are one of the main things that causes interviewers to be scared. Interviewees, sorry. And yeah, this will be a very huge determining factor in whether somebody gets the job or not in an interview, unfortunately. But there's ways of handling it. So one thing to remember when in such a situation regarding handling salary and benefits discussions is research salary ranges for the position and be prepared to discuss your expectations. Okay, so in your field of work, you should have a fair idea of what would be the range of uh, salary and benefits that are associated with roles in your field. So you go in with that in mind, and you have to do your own studies and research to people in your field and try find out. So that's if you have like work experience. If you don't have work experience and you encounter such a situation, the best thing to do in such situations is to just accept whatever is on offer. You really don't have anything to bargain with. You don't have work experience. You might have a degree or qualification or a diploma qualification, but you know you don't have the work experience. You're just someone who's willing to work. So the only way you're gonna get into uh, a job is by just stating, I'm willing to work at any rate that's on offer. That's the only option that we can give, because you don't have work experience and you can't bargain to state whatever salary expectation is you need. So those are two separate situations to you know to handle, whether you have work experience or not. You should be giving those sort of answers. And yeah, by all means, do not bring up the you should not bring up the topic yourself. Let the recruiter or the person interviewing you bring that topic up. So if possible, let the employer bring up the topic first. All right, you don't start the topic. Sometimes when you start a topic, it shows that you're just there for the money, or you just you're just determined to get the job because you're desperate for the money. Don't be desperate, right? Even though you are desperate, keep it professional. Don't start the conversation regarding salary expectations or any of that. The recruiter will still ask you. That's one of their main selection criteria there, in determining what your salary expectations are and if it sits well with the money budgeted for the salary in that position in their organization. So, Oba still asking, you just relax taswala na waiting mo ba to? If they don't ask, then that's fine too. But like I said, you always revert to the game plan, which is for two situations. If you have work experience, and you should know the salary range and the benefits range in your field of work, and therefore you can use that to say what your salary expectation is, or you can say you'd like to base it um, on your last role, whatever salary it was, and then go up from there. So your answer would be, you know, I was earning this much, but if I'm able to get anything equal to that and above, then I'll be fine with it. That should be a good answer for you. If you have work experience and you know you're basing it on your previous package you were earning in your previous role. Alright? That's another way if you have work experience. Or if you have knowledge of the field, the salaries offered in for jobs in your field, then you can use that figure and base your salary expectations on that. But yeah, best thing to do is like start from a figure and say I'm happy with this figure and anything above it. There you go. But if you don't have work experience, I'm sorry, but you just have to take whatever is on offer there. You will have no work experience to bargain or to dictate terms. You just have to humble yourself and take the job, whatever rate it is. And stay in that job, build your work experience up to 2, 3 years, and build your value on the market, and then test yourself on the market if you want to go and check how uh, what sort of roles are on offer for you, and what sort of salaries and benefits that you're able to attract after spending 2, 3 years in this organization. There's no problem with that. We're facing economic issues in this country currently, so if you have to go, then go for it. It's a free country. So these are some stuff to think of when discussing salary and benefits in an interview. Try to handle it in a professional manner. Don't be pushy. Don't show that you are desperate. Be professional. Handle it like a professional that you are, even though you don't have work experience. If you are a recent grad, just try to show your professionality. It means so much. It's gonna show that you're a professional person to the recruiter, and they want to keep you with them, uh, regardless of whatever um, salary expectation you have. You obviously should be saying that you're okay with anything. If you have work experience, I continue to say this, you can base it on your last role, your salary expectations on your last package you were receiving in your last employer, and go up from there. Or you can base it on you know, to your knowledge, what is the market range, um, or the average salary on offer for roles in your field, and base it on that and go up. Say that I'd like it to, my salary expectation is in this number, and anything upwards. If I'm offered this, then I'm happy to take this role. It will be satisfactory for me. Something like that. Alright? Okay, so we've come to the final point of this module of job interview principles recommended by the PNG recruiter. So, number 13, lucky last. Follow up after the interview. Alright? So, after you go complete your interview, you ace it, you done well, you go home. What you should do is follow up. So, you can start off by firstly sending a thank you email and expressing your gratitude for the interview opportunity. So as soon as you get home, send an email, say thanks. I look forward to hearing any feedback on my interview performance. Alright. Once you send that off, the plan is to send a follow up email every 7 days after that interview. Alright. So, say you went for the interview today, Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, alright? So, you send a thank you, gratitude email. Okay, next Tuesday, you send a follow up email if you don't hear anything within the next 7 days. Okay, so that's what you do, right? Should it be successful, thank them and commence discussions on when you can start, all right? That's if you're successful, all right? Start the conversation. When can I start? Should I start next week, Monday? Where can do I need to wait for pickup drop off? You know, you are eligible to have that conversation now if you are successful. Should it not be successful, do not worry about it. Thank them for the opportunity and wish them well. Okay? Start practicing professionalism if you want to be employed, to be a employed professional, all right? So don't, you know, feel downhearted or anything like that. The point is to go in for the interview, but at the same time, you've sent your application out to other organizations as well, all right? So you don't have to focus on this one if you do not make it or get that job, all right? Focus your thoughts and energy on those other applications where you applied to, all right? You now know how to do well in the interview. You know how to put your CV together in an orderly fashion. You know how to put your cover letter in an orderly fashion. And you know how to, go about in performing in a job interview because you know the job interview principles recommended by us at the PNG Recruiter. You have nothing to lose, right? So suck it up, be professional, get back out there and start the process again. And focus your energy into your other jobs that you've applied for. All right? All right. So these are some of the things to remember. Should you do so, you are able to get timely feedback on your interview performances in a timely manner, and you do not annoy the hell out of the recruiter by following up every day, every day. It just shows that you're not professional. You're a nagging person, and no one wants to work with people who have that sort of attitude, right? We know that you need a job, okay, but you don't need to be desperate about it. Okay, everybody is desperate for a job. Try to be professional, all right? What if you get the job and you go in there and people, the recruiters already know what sort of person you are because you continue to nag all the time for feedback on job opportunities. All right, we don't want to portray that. Be professional, and every 7 days follow up on your job interview feedback. All right, if you do not do well, if you do not get the job, don't worry, you probably sent out your application to 10 other vacancies. All right, so you can focus your energy and thoughts into those ones and just get up and say thanks for the opportunity. It was a pleasure to come in and interview with you guys. I wish you all the best, and move on. That's how you do things professionally, and you're practicing it as a job seeker until the time when you get into the workforce. You're practicing it as well. You're patient, you're professional on the job, because you practiced it earlier on when you didn't have a job. And your employer will appreciate it, your boss will appreciate it, and your team will appreciate it. All right. That's something I've learned so far in my career, 10 years of working, you know, and I'm happy to impart this to you guys. And it's worked for me so far, and I've learned to be cool, calm, and collected in such situations, and I think that it will take you a long way. It has for me, and it should help you as well. So thanks. That's the end of this module for job interview principles. And yeah, I hope you've learned everything. And now you can go on to doing the exercise or whatever activity that we have in store for you after this.